And it's funny, when you watch the game, you have one impression, then you look at the box score, maybe you have a little bit of a different impression. Then 24 hours go by, maybe you watch the game again and it maybe hits you a different way. And then you look at those next day stats, and those start to shape you. And listen to a couple of these, JD. Mason had 94 of his 147 rushing yards before contact. Only Joe Mixon, who had 107 for the Texans, had more yards this week before contact. So that's a huge, huge statement, in favor of the offensive line. Then the fact that the other couple that I want to throw your way, Mason faced a stacked box on 50% of the offensive snaps. So it wasn't like the Jets were like, hey man, we don't believe in this guy. We're going to play pass and we'll just dare you to keep running this big back. They had 8 in the box. In fact, Mason facing a stack box on 50% of the offensive snaps, that was the second highest rate of stack boxes among that all running backs faced in week 1 across the league. So he faced stack box at least half the time. He had 94 of the 147 after contact. He also led the NFL this week. He forced 13 missed tackles, which is a ton, most in the league. But the number that really jumps out is that the Niners offensive line, JD, posted a 96.1% pass block win rate, which is one of my favorite stats in the NFL. I really believe wholeheartedly in the pass block win rate. But the Niners posted 96.1% pass block win rate against the Jets on Monday Night Football. That was the third best in the NFL in week 1. So I guess my question is, you and I have covered a lot of basketball, and in basketball, it's like if a team changes out one guy, it's huge, especially if that guy's a great player or an awful player. If you add one player, change out one player in an NBA starting 5, the impact can be dramatic. And it's the same kind of thing on an offensive line. If you take one, like the Niners did not block Chris Jones in the Super Bowl. Now, was it Burford's fault? Probably. I don't know whose fault it was, but it looked like Burford's fault.
Well, Chris Jones is also awesome, right?
Chris Jones is also awesome. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's been wrecking other guys besides Burford. So, but they didn't block him in the biggest snap of the year. They didn't block him, and it was some kind of a gaff on the right side of the line, let's just say. And we won't assess blame to an individual. But if Dominick Puni steps in there and you take a player like this out of the 3rd round, he looks like a really, really good prospect. He looks like a guy who might have gone in the late 1st. The way he's been playing, he only had 1 pressure allowed last night. He was going up against Quinnen for a number of those snaps. I guess my point is it possible, JD, that we all kind of need to pump the brakes on the Niner O-line criticism and kind of reevaluate what this line actually is now with with a 20% changeover with one new starter? What do you think? What do you think? I mean, because I think most people would be like, the Niner line stinks, but does it stink? I mean, what do you think?
And I didn't think McKivitz actually had a bad game last night either. He did have a penalty that, everybody kind of, I'm sick of McKivitz. He picks up the holding penalty. But
he had a couple penalties. Yeah.
He had a couple of penalties and not his best game. And he's been somebody on that right side, obviously, who's been maligned. He took over that mantle from McGlinchey, who had been maligned before him at that same right tackle spot for a couple of years. But no, I do think Dominick Puni makes a significant difference. It makes it a completely different offensive line, because I think when you look at it, now there's balance. The 49ers have always been able to run left. They've always been able to, get behind Trent Williams and get behind Aaron Banks. And Burford, by the way, came in and held his own for Banks a little bit last night at the left guard spot. Now that Burford is basically that swing guard who's going to come in case of injury and can play both spots, and played some left guard in college, I believe, and primarily right guard, obviously, with the 49ers. But I think looking at Puni, Now you feel like that was the weakest spot. If you had to go to the 5 offensive linemen, I know now McKivitz is going to take all the flack, and that's fine. We can save that for another conversation.
Right.
But Puni, the right guard spot was the most maligned point on the 49ers offense. So now when you upgrade that spot specifically, I think it just opens up so many more opportunities for balance. And what does Kyle Shanahan want? He wants run pass balance. He wants left right balance. He wants inside outside balance. He wants to stretch the defense deep. He wants to stretch the defense to the sideline. It's about using those 5 eligibles to create space. And when you are a one-dimensional team in the running game in terms of everybody knows you're going to run left, that makes you easier to stop. And now I think what Dominick Puni is showing is the 49ers can be formidable, and they were last night, running it to the right. And if they're more formidable running it to the right, then that means that they're going to be much more difficult to stop when they run to the left, when they really do it. So to me, it all works hand in hand. And I think you do have to kind of reevaluate everything just with the one guy, because he, to this point, and we saw it in camp and you were all over it, Puni looks like a significant upgrade. It doesn't just look like, oh, now they've got a passable player as opposed to maybe a below average player. It looks like they have a plus player potentially at that position. So you're almost getting 2 levels better. You went from maybe below average to above average. So I think that's significant.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. JD, the more I watch this guy, the more I think he could have been taken anytime after like pick 20. I mean, if you had picked a Dominick Puni at 25, I don't think you would necessarily be all that mad right now. I mean, this is a very, very good prospect. I'm going to share the screen. Let's see. Yeah, wasn't sure if I was going to be able to. Yeah, I am going to be able to share the screen. I will. I will share the screen right here. This is Baldy doing a little breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Listen to Baldy on this one. Watch a little bit of the Puni. I mean, I could watch this stuff literally all day. I mean, I love me some Baldy. But here's Puni playing right guard. You got Mason in the backfield. Watch a couple of these highlights here, and we'll talk about it.
47 yards last night. Watch Dominick Puni. Let's just watch a couple plays from Puni. Watch him wash Solly Thomas all the way down right here. Mason will cut right off him. Like he washes him down, and there goes Mason. All right, now, that's one thing. But can you handle a $100 million pass rusher in Quinnen Williams? You see, C.J. Mosley is going to draw the center's block. They want Quinnen one-on-one with the rookie. Can the rookie hold up? All right, here it is. Puni against Quinnen Williams. One-on-one. All right? Not many guys can handle Quinnen one-on-one. He stays right in front of him. That's a whole lot of power so that Purdy can make that throw to Ayuk. All right, now, let's watch this right here. Can you explode out of the blocks? Explode out of the blocks to go cut off Quinnen Williams here. Not just, he's got him on one leg. Like, not just explode, but explode into him. Ear hole him right there, and there goes Mason right off you. All right, now, down to the goal line. All right, you got an inside eye 4 technique. No way can you hook block that. No way can Puni do that. He's just a rookie. Nobody can inside eye a former number 1. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, he did. He just hooked him, and there goes Debo for the touchdown. I mean, Puni was outrageous. He didn't have a bad play. Not a penalty, not a bad play, not a pressure. The guy was simply awesome in his game.
I mean, the only thing Baldy got wrong in that entire video was the fact that he said he had no pressure. So I think he allowed one pressure all night. But what you saw there, JD, is the foot movement. He's got the movement ability, So, and then he's a broad, wide body guy that loves contact, super smart, assignment sound. I talked to him in the locker room right before they shut it down last night, and I said, "Hey, I know you don't know all you need to know, about the game. I won't ask you specific questions because I know you're playing the line." He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm blocking my guy. I'm carrying out tasks on every play. I really won't really know until we all watch it together and Chris kind of goes through it." I said, "I know, but you probably have a good sense for your best play and your worst play. And I go, do what stands out? And he goes, I think my best play was when I reached, a reach blocked on the linebacker, and I got out and I actually knocked him on the ground on the one that got called back on the penalty on the run. I think it was the touchdown that got called back. He's like, I thought that was my best play. My worst play, and he's like, I had a couple bad ones, and I took a couple false steps, and and it's like, and you heard Shanahan this afternoon talking to the guys, and everybody's starting to discover that Puni's a good player. So now Shanahan's like, hey, look, he's got a long way to go. You know what I mean? Everybody pumped the brakes, but they love him. They love him. And, and I know from being down there that Chris Forster does not compliment people often. And man, when he said a couple weeks ago, somebody said, what do you think of Puni? He's like, yeah, he's just been awesome. So, whoa, the guy who never compliments anybody just called a rookie offensive guard awesome. That was something. But to me, it was really fun to watch Puni. And I think we all kind of need to reevaluate before we sit there and just crap on the Niner offensive line. Like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. You got Brendel was a Pro Bowl alternate 2 years ago. Banks is going to make a lot of money this offseason. Trent is the best. He's the standard at left tackle. McGlinchey obviously could be upgraded. He's probably not really a starter, more of a swing tackle kind of a guy. But they may have added,
right? Yeah,
McKivitz, excuse me. What I call McGlinchey.
Yeah.
McKivitz. And
same kind of angst among Niner fans.
But if Puni is let's just say he is what he's starting to look like. Like he might be the second best offensive lineman on this line to Trent. Well, if you added a true terrific right guard, the Niner offensive line, JD, may push beyond the criticism level and into that might be one of the reasons they win the whole thing this year. We'll see.
Well,
it's
huge.
It's a tall ask, but there's a lot of football left. But
it
is. Looks good.
It is, and he looks good. And it's another area, Larry, where you look at this team, and we were having the conversation over the last couple of weeks just about, well, what areas are they better? What areas maybe are they going to struggle and have to figure some things out during the year? Offensive line overall would not have been an area of this team where I would have said coming into the year, hey, they're going to be better. And that's even knowing that Puni had a real good camp, right? Yeah, I think you're thinking, all right, he can be steady, but can he be markedly better to where he really makes the whole group better? I think that conversation's already shifted. And so you're looking at an aspect of this team where you thought maybe they were going to struggle, and not only are they maybe not going to struggle as much, but it could actually be a net positive. So I think that's significant as you look, there's always going to be pop-up problems, right? There's always going to be things that you aren't anticipating that become problems. This Christian McCaffrey thing is one of them. And so, as you start to look at the McCaffrey thing, you kind of put that in all right, this is a problem you didn't want, but you're going to have to deal with. That goes in kind of the negative category at this point. Well, you also, though, how do you mitigate that and win enough games to continue to get back to a similar spot, even though you're clearly not going to have McCaffrey as frequently as you did last year? Well, having a better offensive line and be able to run the ball the way you did with Jordan Mason last night, and Mason gets a lot of credit too, is one way to offset one of those pop-up problems that have come up. So I think it all works hand in hand.
No question.